Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. This is the regular board meeting of Pittsburgh Water, May 23rd, 2025. The board did meet in executive session. No votes were taken. We did get updates on personnel matters and on projects. May we have a roll call?
Mr. Bay,
Present.
Ms. McCorn-McBaron,
Present.
Ms. Strasburger,
Present.
Mr. Shuley,
Here.
Mr. Domock,
Here.
Ms. Lever,
It's just not.
okay. We do have a quorum.
My understanding is we have some speakers this morning. I'll ask the speakers to come to the microphone. You have 3 minutes. So call whoever wants to go first.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I think we can.
Yes. Yep. My name is Barb Warwick. I'm the Pittsburgh City Council representative for District 5 and for 4 Mile Run. For 20 plus years, residents in the run have been begging for a solution to their flood problem. So in 2015, when the city announced plans to spend millions of dollars on a private shuttle road through the neighborhood, the Mont Oakland Connector, to serve a new development next door, they were naturally upset that their public dollars were being used to serve special interests, but not fix their flood problem. A problem that, if it were happening in Shadyside or Squirrel Hill or Point Breeze, would have been fixed long, long ago. The solution city leaders and PWSA came to at the time was to promise flood mitigation, but to tie the project to the road, essentially holding the flood relief hostage. But in meeting after meeting with Mr. Shuley and others at PWSA, the authority denied that theory. No, 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 we don't care about that road. We just want to help you with your flooding. It makes no difference to us what happens with the Mont Oakland Connector. We promise we are doing this flood project no matter what. Over the next 6 years, Run residents fought to stop the Mont Oakland Connector, and in February of 2022, they won. Later that year, I was elected to city council. Then lo and behold, that same November, before I was even sworn in, I got a call from PWSA. There's some issues with the flood project, problems with the designs, the railroad, utilities. We need to scale back, take out the green infrastructure, just do the pipes, just be a little more patient. We're still doing the project. Construction will be 25. I stood up in front of my neighbors with you, Will. And I said to them, don't worry, guys. They're gonna fix it. I promise. Then at the end of 2024, PWSA, now Pittsburgh Water, cut the project out of the capital budget, moving the money elsewhere. No notice, no calls, no public discussion. Pittsburgh Water broke its promise just everyone in the run said you were going to do. Since then, word has gotten out that we were coming, and Mr. Pickering did reach out. We're working on an alternative. We'll do a study to see if the M29 outfall fixed the problem. Maybe we can do something smaller. Maybe we can link with the Alcosan Clean Water Project. Maybe PennDOT can help. But here's the problem, folks. You can't do any of that without funding. And that's why I'm here today. We're demanding for water move the funding back to the 4 Mile Run Stormwater Project. Starting now, I want a monthly report on the work that is being done to get this project completed, get this flooding solved once and for all. And if I don't get it, you can expect to see me at every board meeting from here on out. The good news is that I hear from my neighbors that our former council member is as outraged about this situation as we are. So we're all very excited for him to come out and stand up here with us as well. Because the thing you have to remember is that no matter how long it takes, the run will not back down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Annie Quinn, and today I'm here to provide public comment and the public push back on the projects of 4 Mile Run and the M29 sewer shed. Like actually in February 28th, after the money had already been moved, with limited funding and competing priorities, our capital projects program, many of the stormwater projects will not move forward at this time. This was the only communication, and it was only sent to limited partners for the termination of a 7-year investment of my neighbors and my time towards a design project that costs our ratepayers $8.7 million. The Monwater project coalition of partners will not sit quietly aside while the 4 Mile project is discarded by the board. We demand answers, we demand solutions, and we demand action now. We ask you to reinstate the future funding for construction and resurrect the next steps of the project. We understand that final design of a very modified, simplified version of the original project should be funded past 2025, and we request that construction move forward as soon as possible, with the requiring funding to do so in your budget. My personal participation in this project was from the very beginning, from the very first meeting, through all the public engagement meetings hosted by both Pittsburgh Water and DOMI, from the initial launch of a stormwater project in my neighborhood as a greenfield person and a ratepayer. And stormwater project had promise. It was exciting, especially as a conservation biologist working elsewhere in the region. In 2020, several of the 4 Mile Run design processes had continued, and the Parks Department, picking up a plan that you all developed and paid for and issued to the public, the Green First Plan, developed a priority watershed list. The Parks Conservancy worked to form watershed task forces in each of those to help allow for an intermediary between you, the agency, and the public to help bring about the solutions that were promised in that plan. However, due to extensive challenges, the controversies, as Barb described, associated with this initial project, even the partners themselves and the design elements included, my involvement has now transitioned to professional. The 4 Mile Run Task Force is an important opportunity for you to partner with the public, with the community. And in 2023, the Monwater project transitioned to being the facilitator for that task force. The Monwater project is a small organization. It is me, but I am hoping to continue to build a community around the solutions that are necessary. I also am not here to pressure you just to do those pipes. I'm here because that is the simplest answer to this problem, and you know it and I know it. And as professionals in the water field, we can do better, right? This is only the beginning of the resolution to the problem. So I demand first that PWSA's strong leadership to stand up to the parkway as they're reconstructing the bridge and demand that no flow from that road enters an already constricted and at capacity system. I ask the PWSA Pittsburgh Water Board to finalize ownership of the dam at Panther Hollow. I do not want my elected officials to hear another sentence about, well, they said, we said, they said. We are going to grow up and do the hard thing. We're going to take ownership of the dam, and we are going to restore the lake. We're going to restore it in its entirety for an ecological, recreation, and stormwater management system. We're also going to daylight Panther Hollow Stream. And I request that you go back to your very own studies that you produced and paid for, that we're going to take that stream to the Mon River. Let's do it. Let's do the hard thing, because that is what this project needs in order to remove the flow to save my friends and my neighbors, but also to do the right thing for our city. And it's a win-win because I didn't make these projects up. You all did, right? These are directly from the plans issued, built, and developed by Pittsburgh Water and the Alkazan Clean Water Plan. We have all the support of our region to do this work. Let's do it together. And this is the only path forward for us as a community to be climate resilient and to have a solution in the 4 Mile Run and M29 sewer shed that can survive whatever growth and whatever climate throws at us. It is our only opportunity to create the solutions that are necessary for us to be resilient as a city. I ask you to move forward with the full and complete project from here on forward. You have partners in the room that are ready to support you. I look forward to building the project together. Thanks.
Okay, can you all hear me okay? My name is Ziggy Edwards. And I 4 Mile Run Stormwater Project from the beginning. I'm here today because you have proved me and my name right by reneging on your commitment to our community and in essence, canceling the entire project. As you know, we've had several 20, 50, and 75-year floods in the past 15 years. You've seen footage of cars floating down the streets, manhole covers blowing off from the force of sewage geysers. And here's some of those from some of that people were able to get on their cameras. And for all those years, Run residents were told that Pittsburgh lacked funds to address the flooding. Then along came the $26 million Mont Oakland connector, which changed absolutely nothing. My neighbors learned about the plan for a shuttle road through the run from a 2015 Pittsburgh Post-Gazette article, and that plan did not include flood control. What finally shamed the city and Pittsburgh Water into funding the 4 Mile Run Stormwater Project was the 2016 flash flood, which you can see here, where emergency responders had to rescue a father and son trapped on their car roof. And that rescue actually made the news. Though billed as a solution to the flooding, the project from the beginning suffered from inadequate goals and for starters, and this was a big thing, and I know that that wasn't completely under the control of the people here. The flood control features were tied to and built around the MOC. And Pittsburgh Water did admit this, but only after Mayor Gainey canceled the road. That came much later. Then there's the fact that only a third of the funding was actually slated for the core project in Shenley Park and the Run. I'm not enjoying this. I don't want to be right about any of this, but the proof is in the pudding, or in this case, the raw sewage. Here we are after $8.7 million for design, 8 years later, and not a shovel has touched the ground since you announced the project. If I sound cynical, it's because I read the 2020 email from Alex Shuley to then Mayor Peduto's Chief of Staff, Dan Gilman, where he stressed, and this is a quote, that we may need to go further with the discussion regarding property acquisition and other discussions that will not be widely popular. Pittsburgh Water's ultimate solution to our problems. All these ratepayer dollars and years of your own employees' lives have been wasted to play at a good faith effort. Hiding the board's discussions about defunding this project from public meeting minutes does not help either. Even now, you have opportunities to prove me wrong. You can revisit your priorities and choose to address the life-threatening conditions in the Run rather than branding or the bus rapid transit project, for example. You can take advantage of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers 75% reimbursement programs. They mentioned that their planning chief discussed April 2nd City Council agenda hearing. You can fulfill your duty to us rather than help your friends and colleagues at institutions consider our neighborhood a barrier to development. You could even come up with a better project than the one you defunded. And I hope you do. And I really hope that happens, but I'll believe it when I see it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, can you hear me?
My name's Ray Gerard, and I've been covering the story of chronic flooding in 4 Mile Run, my community, for about 10 years now. A while back, I wrote a piece about the devastating 2016 flood titled Project Elsewhere, which described the many years of flooding and the fact that the city and our so-called representatives refused to address the issue because they've been too busy spending the people's money in wealthier neighborhoods and shoveling taxpayer money like $26 million into community erasing private roadways, while year after year after year, claiming there was no money to address the flooding issue. And as you know, every time there's a flood in the run, it is not rainwater, it's sewage. Tens of thousands of gallons of sewage. So here we are, 10 years later, after the acquisition of $42 million, although 2/3 of the money was not for solving the flooding issue at all, but according to Senior Manager of Public Affairs, Rebecca Z. And now you're saying you've decided you're going to go and spend that money elsewhere. This is no surprise. Some of us has predicted this very thing. No private roadway, no flood control. Extortion. This is not a theory. This is what's happened, and we have 10 years worth of receipts to prove it. Now, there's some serious questions that need to be asked, and this board needs to answer them, such as, how much money in total will it end up costing for your rebranding? How much in total did it cost for Whiteman Park, a tiny little patch of land with more stormwater retention infrastructure we've ever seen? How much did the project at the intersection of Bennington and Fair Oaks cost in total? Because some people there were getting a bit of water in their basements. Both projects, I guess, just happen to be in District 8. How much for all the other elsewheres around the city? And yes or no, will the run flood again with sewage? You have an absolute obligation to be transparent, which on several occasions over several years, you absolutely have not been. Again, we have 10 years worth of receipts, documents obtained through right to know requests, evidence obtained through sources and investigative reporting. We have a cache of ammunition that we've held back on and onto because of various reasons, one of which is that the Pittsburgh Water simply cannot be trusted. This board needs to immediately and restore the funding to seriously address the chronic and life-threatening flooding in the run. Failure to do so will be and will show up as a conscious decision to let residents drown in sewage, perhaps have a child sucked into the sewers. Remember Washington Boulevard? And then to do thousands of dollars of damage to people's homes, all because, and I'm quoting Tony Igwe, you've shifted your priorities. A conscious decision equaling a conscious disregard for the lives and the properties of residents of the run. We will not permit you, as public servants, to continue to ignore this serious issue. We will not go away. We will not back down. We will use any and all nonviolent means necessary to cause you to address this flooding issue. We'll amplify our voices by whatever means. We'll have the press in tow and we'll never surrender. We will own the narrative going forward. So it seems this board has another decision to make. Restore the funding to seriously address the run's flooding or suffer an ongoing flood of bad press and a lot more heartburn. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more online.
Okay.
Oh, they're not online. Is that everyone?
We're good. Well, thank you for your remarks. I think those that have attended.
Okay.
All right.
Good morning. Mike Holohan. I'm a board member of the Greenfield Community Association, which is the registered community organization for the run. When my wife and I bought our house in the run 13 years ago, we didn't know that the neighborhood was subject to dangerous and costly flooding. But it was not long before a storm overwhelmed the system and filled the streets and the basements of homes with rainwater and sewage. And that kept happening. And we wondered, when is someone going to fix this? For a long time, it seemed like no one was going to. But then the Mon-Oakland Connector project was announced. It was going to privatize Junction Hollow, the park that links Oakland to 4 Mile Run, to make a private road for self-driving shuttles between Carnegie Mellon University and the Hazelwood Green development. Suddenly, a stormwater mitigation project was on the table that the PWSA would build at the same time as DOMI built the Mon-Oakland connector. Not only would it relieve flooding, but it would improve the area with green infrastructure designs like daylighting the stream that has been buried in pipes for decades. However, residents of the run were worried about the impact of autonomous shuttles in our neighborhood and reluctant to hand public property to a corporation that doesn't pay taxes. For years, there were public meetings with DOMI and PWSA about these proposals, and we asked, if we don't cooperate with the Mon-Oakland connector, will you cancel the stormwater project? And for years, both DOMI and PWSA insisted publicly that the stormwater project would continue no matter what. Representatives acted like they couldn't believe that we would even ask such a thing. Well, the MOC was canceled, and over the next few years, the stormwater project was whittled down from a comprehensive green infrastructure project to one that just adds more pipes. And now here we are learning that even that is gone. The stormwater project that we have waited decades for has been quietly mothballed along with a handful of other projects, none of which are needed for flood prevention. There was no public meeting about this in the neighborhood. The Greenfield Community Association was not notified. Even our city council person found out indirectly. Pittsburgh Water may give this or that reason for canceling this project. You may say it has nothing to do with the Mon-Oakland connector. But when I step back and look at it, the narrative arc seems pretty clear. We didn't cooperate with a project that developers and nonprofit corporations want, and now we aren't getting the flood protection that we need. There is no way this would happen to a wealthier neighborhood. The Wikipedia page for 4 Mile Run says, for Pittsburghers, it is a place driven over and seldom seen. And that feeling of being overlooked really rings true. Over 120,000 vehicles drive over us every day. All of the stormwater and sewage from Oakland and Squirrel Hill flow underneath us. And the wealthy people who make things happen don't see us as a vital neighborhood, but as an obstacle to overcome. They don't see what I see, that this is an important place where neighbors, our friends, and children play, and it's worth protecting. Thank you.
Did we have everyone? Okay, well, thank you for your remarks. I think folks who attend these meetings regularly know that we don't normally comment on the content of our public speakers, but I think it's important for the record for me to make a few remarks. First, I'd like to say that I do share your frustration, whether you believe that or not. And this issue has been personal to me as well. I have spent more than 40 years as a professional engineer, and I've worked on lots of complex problems, and this problem has been one of the most complex I've ever worked on. The 4 Mile Run project should have been a crown jewel for green infrastructure, but it met tons of obstacles and challenges to execute the project. And just to name a few, and some of you have already named a few of them, but the first thing is that we never expected DEP to reclassify Panther Hollow Lake as a high hazard dam. It's no more a high hazard dam than a puddle out here on the sidewalk. And the things that you have to design for in terms of a high hazard dam made the project more complex. As a kid growing up in South Oakland, I spent much of my youth in Panther Hollow on the run. I fished in that lake. I skated on that pond when it froze over. So I would never consider it a high hazard dam as an engineer, but I don't write the regulations for DEP. The refusal of the railroad company to allow our construction equipment to cross the rail line, even with the use of their own flagmen at outrageous rates, also caused much of the problem, because we were going to have a very difficult time working and dredging the lake and getting the lake to serve the function that we had designed for. And many of you have mentioned the Mon-Oakland connector. It wasn't our project. We were good public servants, and we said there's no point in paying twice for the same amount of construction there. So we tried to accommodate the multimodal transportation corridor through Shenley Park. And of course, that project was defeated, and I'm happy it was defeated. As a user of Shenley Park, I didn't necessarily think it served the function. The other thing that was very difficult for us is that, as many of you mentioned, PennDOT has a bridge over Panther Hollow that contributes significantly to the stormwater flow and subsequent flooding. And we had a very difficult time getting them to acknowledge that, and they refused to contribute. Make no mistake about this, Pittsburgh Water has made a significant level of investment in this project to attempt to provide relief for the residents of the run. And while this major investment of this project is on pause until we secure the funding, we haven't stopped trying to solve the problem. We've been analyzing the effectiveness of M29 outfall, which of course Pittsburgh Water and the ratepayers paid for, and early action projects that were implemented when I was a consultant to the authority, the bridle trail at Shenley Park, and other green infrastructure projects that help reduce the load of the stormwater runoff. We're working with Alcosan to evaluate the benefits from their planned expansion projects and the construction of the Mon River Tunnel. We're participating in stakeholder discussions with PennDOT that may provide stormwater management for the Fraser Street Bridge and Exit 7A reconstruction. So we're continuing to work while we seek the funding, and we will seek the funding from every particular source. And if you've been paying attention to our meetings, we are probably the best authority in the state of Pennsylvania at receiving funds, and both locally, federally, and state funds. And we will continue to seek that funding. And Councilwoman, I have talked to Will about meeting with you regularly to give you updates on these initiatives, and we'll continue to do that. As I said, this isn't what we normally do at this board. I don't think this board meeting should be a forum for public debate, but I do think we have lots to talk about. And hopefully, Will, you're going to continue to meet with the councilwoman and others on this project to let them know what we're doing. So thank you. And we will move to the regular agenda. First agenda item is the approval of the meeting minutes of April 25th, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes of April 25, 2025, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstentions.
Okay, thank you. I think we have enough to pass the meeting minutes. We'll move to the confirmation of CEO approvals. All CEO approvals from the prior month are confirmed. And we'll move to reports and updates. And we'll start with the Finance Department. Mr. Barca.
Morning, Chair, members of the board.
Morning.
Included in your board packet is the finance report as of April 30th, 2025. Within the report, you'll see that total receipts through April totaled $75.8 million, or about 31.6% of the budget for the year. Specifically in April, Pittsburgh Water collected $19.1 million, which is consistent with the budget for the month of $19 million. So a slight over collection, but really on par for the month as you compare the two. Year-end receipts are projected to be $242.8 million, which is about $2.9 million, or 1.2% above the budget for the year. Next, moving into our expenses, our departmental operating expenditures through April 30th, 2025 totaled $36 million, or about 27.7% of the budget for the year. And as we continue to get into the summer months here, you'll start to see that expedite as we invest in surface restoration. We just purchased a new Vector truck, which I believe is on the road right now, along with some other large purchases that, again, will support our system. Capital expenditures through that same period totaled $43.7 million, with the total year-end expenditures for capital projected to be $294 million. Likewise, as we get into the summer months, construction picks up. So I would anticipate that, along with the recent awards of the ABC projects, to continue to expedite our capital expenditures. Next, we'll switch to debt service. $40.5 million in debt service costs have been paid through April 30th, 2025. That is approximately 43.6% of the budget for the year. And forecasted year-end debt service is projected to be $92.9 million, or about $813,000 lower than the adopted budget. Last, I will note that Pittsburgh Water's cash balance remains healthy at $151 million, but is still below most of our peers on a comparative basis. This concludes my short report for today. I will turn it back over to the board for any questions. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Barca?
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Next, we have the engineering department. Rachel?
Good morning, Chair Julie. And members of the board. I do have some slides today that I think Cam is bringing up. Thank you. So today I want to highlight our urgent water and urgent sewer programs. To address the challenges of our aging infrastructure, the Department of Engineering and Construction utilizes numerous key programs, notably the urgent water and urgent sewer repair contracts. Next slide, please. These are specifically designed to ensure rapid response capabilities. And next one, Cam, thanks. Oh, I have the clicker. Huh, look at that. Thank you for reminding me as I moved it out of my way. These contracts are specifically designed to ensure rapid response capabilities. We have contractors on standby to address emergency service calls within a 4-hour time frame. This approach has been pivotal in safeguarding uninterrupted utility services for the community. The scope of work under these contracts includes urgent repair and maintenance of our public water and sewer system, including water transmission, storage and distribution, stormwater, sanitary, and combined sewer facilities. Projects are typically given to the urgent water or sewer contractors due to the scope and complexity of the work. For each repair project, we issue a detailed work order outlining the specific location, relevant drawings, and unit prices based on the awarded contract documents. Contractors are then required to complete the assigned repairs as soon as possible to return the infrastructure into service, aka substantial completion, and restore the road within 45 calendar days of receiving the work order. Failure to meet this timeline may result in liquidated damages, which underscores the importance of timely execution. Recognizing the growing demand for urgent repair work in 2015, we implemented a strategic shift by procuring multiple contracts. This adjustment was necessitated by the volume of repair work orders and has proven to be an effective strategy in managing the workload. This approach still remains in place, reflecting the ongoing need for such repairs as our infrastructure continues to age. Shown is a summary of the program costs since 2015. As you can see, in general, our spending gradually increased from 2015 to 2020, and since then has been up and down, but more steady. We believe the increase from 2015 to 2020 was due to a number of factors, including the frequency of breaks, increase in repair costs due to inflation, and increase in budget allocation. Also, as shown, the sewer repair costs were notably higher in 2020 than in other years. We believe this higher spend can be considered an outlier. It was not due to any one particular project, but rather many projects, several of which were over $1 million or $2 million each, including the M29 outfall urgent void repair costing almost $1.5 million, a deep manhole in the zoo parking lot, which was just under $1.8 million, and sewer work at the 5800 block of Forbes Avenue, which is $2.4 million. The 2025 costs for both water and sewer are estimates at this time. Next, I'll review a few examples of the work performed under these contracts. First, we have the Tuxedo Street sewer repair in the Sheridan. This was a sewer collapse on a hillside that required significant bypass pumping and non-traditional method of repair. Project involved the installation of approximately 190 feet of 16-inch high-density polyethylene sewer line utilizing directional drilling techniques. This method was selected as the optimal solution to address the challenging conditions presented by the project site. This sewer line was located at a depth exceeding 20 feet and on a steep slope of 26%, making traditional excavation methods impractical. Directional drilling allowed for precise placement of the sewer line while minimizing disruption to the surrounding environment and infrastructure. And shown are some photos from this work, the pipeline being installed, the cutting head on the right, pipeline going into a manhole, and then the challenging terrain that we were working in. Next, we have the 215 Chalfont Street sewer repair. This was in the Allentown neighborhood. This project involved replacing approximately 30 feet of a 15-inch sewer main at a depth of 35 feet, which is fairly deep. This critical infrastructure repair was undertaken to address significant issues with sewage flow in the affected area. The compromised section of this main impacted the system's overall functionality, necessitating immediate attention. Given the substantial depth at which this work was performed, the replacement required meticulous planning and precise execution to ensure both safety and efficiency. The successful completion of the project has restored full sewage flow through the system at this location, improving the reliability of the infrastructure and minimizing the risk of future interruptions. Shown are some photos of the excavation and the trench boxes used, and additional photos of the trench boxing and the excavation and tamping of the subgrade. Next, we have the Route 28 northbound effort in Millvale. This project aimed to fully restore Route 28 following damage caused by our 60-inch water supply main. To identify and address structural voids beneath the roadway, a total of 16 borings were performed. And through this investigation, one void was located and subsequently grouted, ensuring the stability and integrity of the road for safe usage. This phase of the project was critical in mitigating risks associated with the water line leak and preventing future complications. Additionally, the scope of the work included providing access through manheads on the 60-inch supply main, which facilitated detection activities conducted by external teams to ensure the location of leaks were detected. Following carbon fiber repairs completed under other contracts, the project team also performed disinfection and flushing of the main to restore its optimal functionality. These coordinated efforts collectively enhanced the reliability of infrastructure while addressing the immediate needs of Route 28 and surrounding area. And shown here are some photos of the manhead installation to permit action activities to move forward. The last example is at East Carson Street and 7th Street. This is in the south side. Project aimed to fully complete repairs on both a 12-inch and a 20-inch water line that are cross-connected along East Carson Street. The work was necessitated by leaks in the system, which required immediate attention. Due to permit restrictions set by the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure, or DOMI, all repair activities were conducted during nighttime hours. Despite the challenges of working overnight, the team also performed extensive road restoration. Apologize, I just lost my place. To address the significant impact on the roadway. These efforts ensure the safe and efficient resolution of the issue while minimizing inconvenience to the community. And some photos from that work as well, showing the leak condition and the trench and the pipe in that trench. It is challenging to accurately forecast. Those are the end of my slides. It is challenging to accurately forecast the annual expenditures for these urgent repairs, as they are highly dependent on unforeseen circumstances and evolving conditions. The frequency and cost of urgent repairs do tend to rise during periods of inclement weather. The continuing investments that we're making to replace and rehabilitate our water and sewer mains over time under other programs reduce the need for these emergency repairs, ultimately leading to a more stable and cost-effective infrastructure framework. I'd like to recognize our Senior Group Manager of Construction, Don Gon, as well as John Wada and Tunde Ibrahim in the construction group who manage these programs. The nature of this work is intense, requiring quick decision-making under stressful conditions and rapid response on a 24/7 basis. Don and his team regularly respond to events during off hours, including overnight and on holidays, to ensure the work is completed efficiently and safely. Moving on with an update on our lead service line replacement program, a total of 12,914 public and 9,551 private side lead service lines have been replaced through May 21st. And we currently have 8 active construction contracts involving lead service line replacements. These are a combination of small diameter water main replacement, neighborhood, and urgent contracts. Lastly, the following projects are currently out for construction bids. The 2023 large diameter sewer rehabilitation bids are due June 9th, and the 2024 large diameter main replacement project Bids are due June 26th. Thank you for your attention, and that concludes my report. I'll turn it over for any questions.
Any questions or comments for Rachel?
Just say the pictures are always helpful
Great.
during your explanation.
Thank you.
Next, we have the report from our Chief Operations and Environmental Compliance Officer report. Well, this title changed a little bit here, didn't it?
We're catching up on the paper.
Yeah, all right, okay.
All right. Good morning, everyone. So for the environmental compliance and operational report here this month, I want to take a minute to focus on some of our chemical and water storage tanks. Pittsburgh Water currently operates 111 tanks that are storing water treatment chemicals or fuels. Our environmental compliance department performs monthly inspections of these tanks, and where appropriate, we maintain the appropriate registration with PADEP as well as the City of Pittsburgh Fire Bureau. Our chemical storage tanks range in size from around 30 gallons up to approximately 45,000 gallons, with a total chemical storage capacity across all of our tanks of slightly over 400,000 gallons. I'll also note, while many of these tanks have been installed maybe in the last 10 years, a number of the tanks, particularly at the water treatment plant, were installed in 1962, and we continue to maintain and try to utilize those tanks as part of our water treatment system. We have projects that are moving forward to replace or install new tanks at 19 different locations. These include projects currently in construction at the water treatment plant, as well as at our Highland Reservoir, Highland 2, the Lanford Reservoir, along with new tanks that are going to be part of our Asmoa Pump Station, Brecken Pump Station, and Clearwell Bypass, or the ABC project that you've heard about. Environmental compliance works very closely with our engineering team to make sure that we have proper installation of these using certified tank installers, and that these tanks are registered prior to being placed in use and handover to operations. Pittsburgh Water also operates numerous drinking water storage tanks. So these are regulated and permitted differently. These water storage tanks and reservoirs provide water to our customers while managing system pressures and providing necessary capacity for emergency use. An example of this emergency use occurred earlier this month when we had the severe storms come through, which resulted in widespread power outages, and that did impact power to 2 of our pumping stations. However, the volume in our storage tanks in those areas were sufficient to maintain water supply until we were able to get power restored to those pump stations. Pittsburgh Water operates 13 total tanks and 3 reservoirs. They're located across the service area, and they provide over 300 million gallons of drinking water storage out in our system for use. Water level in the tanks and reservoirs are managed by our operations team back at the water treatment plant, where pumps are operated to help fill those tanks. 2 of the tanks located in Squirrel Hill and Allentown area also have additional mixing systems installed, known as PAC systems, which are operated seasonally late spring through early fall to help manage water quality. These mixing systems provide some aeration as well as, we'll say, stirring of the tanks. Environmental compliance helps support our operations also by providing monthly external inspection of all of these drinking water storage facilities. Well, we also have third-party inspections that perform inspections inside of the tanks. They send little diving robots down in there to inspect the internals of the tank and perform that inspection. All of these chemical and water storage tanks are important components of our water system, and they're very critical in maintaining our drinking water quality, as well as that quantity and supply for our region. So that concludes my report here today. As always, if there's questions regarding compliance, ethics, or operations, the board, our staff, or our contractors can reach out to me. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Sederi?
Well, just again, another shout out on an interesting report. The plan, the longer timescales and some of the data show both well-group compliance as well as kind of dials one in a little more resiliency as we see over the seasons now with the rivers going at us. And lastly, enjoyed. I never knew there was a reservoir on Grant Street, so I learned something. Weird, sort of bizarre question. Do we have an archivist that takes care of these photos and these things, or?
Yes, we do have internally a document control group that helps manage the historic documents that we're aware of and that we have under our control.
Yeah.
But there's also interesting photos that are available, through Hines and Penn State and other areas that maintain some of those historical. But we do have internal folks. So if you have historical pictures or documents, we'd probably be happy to archive those. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we drawn upon as ABC goes forward.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of the pictures, the inside of the clear well and the construction, we have copies and records of some of those
Yeah,
pictures.
Mostly just familiar with the picture of the cabbage farm where the strip mall now is.
I have a hard hat from 1984 that I'm going to donate to Frank.
It might be interesting. I have in my office a bunch of electrical testing equipment from like 1905, what they originally used. So we do maintain a lot of those relics, and hopefully someday, can display them, keep them available. So,
Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So final report is from our CEO here, Will Pickering. Will.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, Chair Shuley, members of the board, members of the staff and the public. I have the pleasure this morning of handling our quarterly PGH2O, or maybe I should just say Pittsburgh Water Excellence Awards. We have a few groups, but first off, our awardees are John Murray and Roger Jordan, who are managers out at our water treatment plant. And this was a group recognition, also including their staff. And they were nominated by BJ McFadden, Frank Sideri, who we just heard from, based on their really tremendous response on April 29th and thereafter, after we all recall in this room the extreme weather event that we had, just about 10 minutes, but ultimately resulting in hundreds of thousands of customers without power. Little known because they were able to respond so excellently that we were impacted. Roger and John personally responded into that first morning. Our priority was getting our Brecken pump station back up and running and using our generator powers. The power to our system was on and off for several days, really. And these folks were working around the clock with their team, and a tremendous response. So really excited for them to be recognized with the Excellence Awards this month. They respond to all sorts of incidents year round. These are the folks who are sometimes leaving their family in the middle of the night to respond to the water treatment plant or other areas of our distribution system when unexpected things happen and things go wrong. We certainly don't take them for granted. So really happy to recognize them this quarter. Maybe they're tuned in online. Guys, if you can hear us, thank you all. And if not, I'll catch up with you out at the plant. Make sure you get your certificates. The next group that we are acknowledging this quarter is our budget team, made up of Kevin Paulus, Rhea Price, John Nagel, Michael Gasparini, and Shane St. Cyr. These individuals work together to pull together our 2025 budgets, both our capital and operating budgets, which were recognized by the Government Finance Officer. They received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for 2025. And the award is designed to encourage state and local governmental entities like ourselves to prepare budget documents of high quality that reflect the association's guidelines, but also promote transparency and accessibility so people are aware of where their public dollars are being spent. Obviously, this ties back to our organizational mission by being transparent and accountable. So congratulations to the budget team for the excellence. For those of you that haven't checked out our 2025 budget, Google it. You can see it on the website. It's really a terrific document that they should all be proud of. We appreciate their service. Our third nominee, she was actually an awardee that was nominated by Casey Stewart, but I would say many in the room would share that nomination for our awardee, Marie McIntyre, who unfortunately is not in the room. I've heard she's out exploring nature and unplugged right now, but a little jealous of that. We'll catch up with her. But she does a tremendous job every day leading our training and development efforts within our human resources group. But she pulled together our Safe People, Safe Water training that we had 94 managers complete. We had 5 different sessions. She developed the content almost completely independently, utilizing the framework provided by the Pittsburgh Futures Group that we are working with on our safety initiatives. But as someone who sat through all 5 days of the training, it was fantastic. I would put it up against any consultant could present. It was just as good, if not better, than anything I have gone through. In about 5 times through it, I still got a lot of value even on that 5th session. So terrific job by Marie. Really excited because I benefited from her project to have her win the Excellence Award this quarter. Shifting gears to customer service, also excited to award the Excellence Award to Cassandra Garamita, who I believe is in the room. Raise your hand. Cassandra, thank you for joining us this morning. She is she works within our collections department as a collections analyst. She transitioned back to collections and she continues to process final bills. She had a new role, so she needed to sort of fill both responsibilities simultaneously. She responds to collection agency inquiries, researches, provides analysis on debt recalls, and clarifies payments to ensure timely posting. She provides guidance to our contact center employees, so those who are interacting directly with customers when they have questions. And what I really love to read was that Cassandra is always willing to help coworkers. So, when our team had someone on our team had to take a leave of absence, Cassandra learned team member's role and was able to ensure that we didn't lose any ground in assisting there. So our collections team, we've put up record numbers in the last few years in our collections. We continue to see that through 2025, as we heard in Ed's report, and that's thanks to the great work like Cassandra's. So again, thank you and congratulations. Finally, to round things out, another individual that is in the room with us that I'm really excited to recognize today is Deanna Whip, who is our administrative assistant in public affairs. She was nominated by her supervisor, Rebecca Zito. Deanna joined us in November of 2023, and I can attest, as Rebecca pointed out, she brings a positive attitude to Pittsburgh Water in general and her department. This spring, while performing everything else that she does, including managing our board meetings like she is today, she really took the lead on our first ever, what we called Spring into Giving campaign, which was an internal fundraiser benefiting our hardship grant program. We had done some internal campaigns during the holidays. We shifted it to the spring. And I'm really encouraged by our team's response. We raised nearly $5,000 internally for the hardship grant program, which I believe is a record. And that was really supported by Deanna's creative idea, have bunny grams, which were essentially candy grams that we could send to one another. A few folks sent me some, which I greatly appreciated. And so that really got people excited. I think all in, we had more than 300 bunny grams. It was a nice sort of internal collegial effort and an excellent idea from Deanna. I saw her physically hauling the bunny grams around with the candy. And so she really took that project up, and we had a fantastic result. So congratulations and thank you, Deanna. With that, Chair Shuley, that wraps up my remarks. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions or comments for?
Yes, she also compiles our media clips and news snips to make sure we're aware of what everyone's saying about us.
Well, congratulations to all the Excellence Award winners. Very happy to hear that. This is a quarterly thing. I always said this is a
thereabouts.
It's close to that. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's important to acknowledge that all the work that's happened with just will or your 15, but pretty important. And we're all very proud of that. Thank you very much. All right, we'll move to the resolutions, and we'll start with resolution number 50. Rachel.
Thank you. Resolution number 50, approving entering into reimbursement agreement with the Pittsburgh Regional Transit for Phase 2 of the Bus Rapid Transit Project. Capital budget $5,207,469.25. The board did previously pass a resolution in 2022 authorizing Pittsburgh Water's contribution to this project. However, since then, construction bids have been received and our contribution amount is higher than previously considered. The amount being requested in this resolution is consistent with the project budget included in our current CIP.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 50, please indicate saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Resolution number 50 is approved. Resolution 51, Rachel.
Resolution 51, approving the amendment to the professional engineering services agreement for the Highland Reservoir Pump Station and Rising Main Project, Mott McDonald, capital budget $576,446.49. This change order includes various work items performed by Mott McDonald that were above and beyond the original scope of their design services during construction contract. The bulk of the additional cost includes additional construction drawings, RFIs, and engineering services than was assumed in the original scope. Also included are some items such as additional meetings and coordination and startup and commissioning services.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 51, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution 51 is approved. We move to resolution 52.
Resolution 52, approving the award of a capital contract for construction for the 2025 urgent lead service line replacement project to Independent Enterprises. Capital budget $1,048,740.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 52, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution number 52 is approved. Resolution 53.
Resolution 53, approving a change order of a capital contract for construction of the 2023 small diameter sewer rehabilitation program, contract 2 to Independent Enterprises. Capital budget $238.92. Throughout this contract, a number of items were required to be added to complete the project, including but not limited to the testing, storage, and disposal of residual waste, robotic cutter to remove deposits in the line that couldn't be removed with a traditional cutter, 21-inch diameter full pipelining that was not previously anticipated.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 53, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Resolution 53 is approved. We move to resolution 54, also the last resolution on the agenda. Mr. Barker.
Resolution number 54 of 2025, approving the submittal of the tariff filing package to the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 54, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution 54 is approved. Thank you. Any other business to come before the authority? Well, certainly today's board meeting had a little different tone than we normally have, but I just want to say that I'm still very, very proud of our authority, the organization, the staff, and I stand by the work I've done, especially in the work that's been done on 4 Mile Run, and we'll continue to find the solution. So while I understand these things are personal and no one wants to see their basement flooded or have to clean up sewage on a constant basis, we have not neglected this project, and we'll continue to find solutions until everyone's satisfied. So with that, I wish everyone a happy Memorial Day. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Adjourn.